Hi guys, today we are going to talk about domain and range. Okay, so domain on the graph is all the x value that goes from the left to the right. Okay, so let's take a look at this graph right here. So we notice right here there's two arrows. Okay, so whenever you see arrow, what it means is they keep going forever and ever and ever. It never stops. Okay, it look crazy right now when I'm extending them all the way to the page, but what it means is keep going all the way to the left, so it never stop, right? So every number right here is gonna be an x value. You see, the x keep extended to the left side, so eventually it's gonna get to a very small numbers because go to the negative side. So you're going to take all the numbers that have negative infinity. Okay, let's go to the very end. So we're gonna have negative infinity, and likewise it's go all the way to the right side of the x. So it's gonna be all the way to the positive infinity. So the domain right here, negative infinity, positive infinity. Okay, because in infinity, we know it's not a number, like a real number, so it's just a concept. So infinity is mean all real numbers. Okay, what it means, whenever you see infinity, it means all real numbers, and we use the letter R to represent it. Okay, another way that you may use this one is sometimes you're gonna see they write like this, x and the e that curvy like this, it's called epsilon, is to represent the element. So x belongs to the all real numbers. Okay, so that is a domain. All right, so you look left to right, left to right. Okay, the range is the opposite. So we look left to right already. Now we look bottom to top, low to high, right? We're looking at the lowest numbers and the highest numbers. I'm going to be using blue for this one. So on the graph, as you can see right here, it's extended all the way up, but it have a number at the very bottom, right? The lowest point on the graph is this one right here. If you cannot see the number, you count the square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 5 below 0, so it's negative 5, okay? And there's no number below negative 5 that on the graph. So we got to take from negative 5 and up, right? Negative 5 and up. But because the graph have the arrow again, it's going to keep going forever and ever and ever. So we don't know when is the graph is going to end. We just know that it's going to keep going up. So eventually it's going to reach to the very big number. We don't know that number either, so we're going to represent them by using infinity. Okay, infinity is not a number, but it's a concept to represent number that never ends. Okay, so we have the lowest is negative 5, and then the ending point is going to be infinity. Infinity always have parentheses. The negative 5, we're going to be using a bracket, a square bracket, to represent is included. Okay, included on the graph. The graph doesn't have any empty circle, so this is going to be from negative 5 to infinity. In other words, because they go to infinity, they're getting bigger. So we're going to represent them as y is greater than or equals to negative 5. You can take from negative 5, negative 4, 0, 1, 2, and 3, and so on and so on. You name it, right? It's go to the infinity. Who knows where it goes? All right. So that is the first example. We're going to take a look at one more that looks similar to that one, okay? So keep in mind, the arrow means keep going. Here goes to the next one. All right, let us take a look at this one right here. Okay, so you can see it's kind of look like number 1, but this time it's pointing down, right? And what Mr. does say about pointing down, and with the arrow means is keep going. It keep going forever and ever and ever. So the arrow point to the left? Yes. The arrow point to the right? And yes, so both direction means all real numbers. Okay, so for the domain, we're going to take all the x value that's on the real set. Okay, we say all real numbers. Two different arrows to left and right. So it goes to the negative infinity and it ends at positive infinity. Okay, they both have parentheses. This is negative infinity on the left, positive infinity on the right. This is negative infinity and this is positive infinity. Okay, so we look like that. There we go. My badness. I don't know why I put it there. Okay, so now we done with the domain already. We talk about the x. Now let's talk about the y. How does it go up and down? Okay, so what direction do you see right here? Does it open up or does it point it down? Of course, okay. You can see that this one is look like an A shape, right? It's pointing all the way down like this, and there's a number that it cannot go over, right? It has to be less than that number. So this number, you need to find out the range. So we're looking at the y-axis, okay? We're looking at the y values. So we're looking at the y-axis here. Look at the highest point, go to the y. And we see this one is number 1. But because it's below number 1, we're going to have the y number is less than or equal -1, okay? Oh, where do you get negative from? Sorry, guys, I was just testing you. It's +1. So it's below +1. So it's less than. So therefore, it goes to negative infinity. You see right here? Negative infinity. And then from low to high, so it's going to go to 1. 1 is a bracket showing that it's included. And then parentheses, always have parentheses for the infinity. Okay, it's pointing down, we use negative infinity. Pointing up, positive infinity. Easy, yeah? All right, so next time we are going to talk about one arrow and one arrow only. Oh, this is the one that I know you might have some trouble with, huh? Okay, so first off, let's observe about the graph right here. Let's take a look at the graph. I can see right here the graph have one arrow that go to this direction. So let us talk about domain first, okay? Domain is x value. It grows from the left to the right. So we are going to take a look at, okay, let's label our x-axis. This is negative infinity. If you had seen an arrow going this way on the graph, this is positive infinity. If you see the arrow go this way, oh yes, I see the arrow go to the right side. Think about that, okay? So we know the right side is gonna approach to positive infinity. So let's write positive infinity here. But where do you start on the graph? Well, it have to be the left side. But okay, that's look like -5 and -4 there. But we're looking at the x value. So we're looking at -5, isn't it? If you're looking at the x, we're gonna see right here is -5. And then the graph keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. The arrow means keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going forever and ever. So we're gonna start at -5, comma, infinity. Infinity, always parenthesis. This one doesn't have any empty circle, so it's always gonna be a bracket, okay? It's included on the graph. All right, so that's it. Another way you can write this is x is more than or equals to -5. Because all it does is go to the right side, right? Point to the right is greater than. Okay, so now let's us talk about the range. The range is bottom to top. It's all about the y. You look from low to high. Yeah, so look from the bottom to the top. From the bottom to the top. We're looking at the lowest point on the graph. Okay, and remember we're looking at the y. So find the y number, that's -4. And that's a solid, so put a square. All the way up, all the way up, all the way up. The graph ends here. It doesn't go any higher. So we're gonna stop at -2. So in other words, the y value are between -4 and -2. Okay, any number right here between -4 and -2, when you look, it's gonna give you an y numbers. Okay, so the y, sorry, I got a little crazy there, is between -4 and -2. Next, we are going to take a look at one more with the inequalities that have one direction. Okay, so let's take a look at this one right here. We are going to analyze the domain and range of that graph. Okay, as you can see right here, we have the one arrow. Okay, let's see what arrow it is pointing. Number one, it points to the left and up, isn't it? Pointing up and point to the left. So if we point to the left, we already know it's gonna reach -infinity because it's gonna keep going forever, forever, forever to the smaller side. Okay, so for the domain, we're looking at the x value. It go from the left to the right. The left side, it keep going forever to the negative direction, so -infinity. And then your graph keep going, keep going, keep going, and it stop here. It doesn't go anymore. So you're looking at the x again. It show you that it's 2. And it's a solid dot right here. So we're gonna use a bracket. Another way you can represent this is using x. Okay? We cannot use all real numbers here because there's a limit at 2. So it have to be smaller than 2, right? And 2, at 2, there's a dot, there's a point. So you're gonna include 2 as well. All right, so that is a domain. For the range, we're looking at the bottom to the top, okay? We see right here, that's the bottom, the lowest point on the graph. Remember, you're looking at the y number. So look on the y, locate the lowest point, right? And look at the y. Oh, I see the y is right here at -2. Okay, but now I need to go and see where's the graph ending. Is it gonna end if it have the arrow like this? Even though it's pointed to the left, but it's still going up, right? It's still going upward. Yeah. So it's never, never, ever, ever gonna end. It's gonna keep going like that. So we're going to reach the biggest number or the biggest concept, represent the number is infinity. -2 is included. Another way using inequalities that we can represent this is because it's go to positive infinity and pointing up. Number had to be greater than, right? Number y is going to be greater than or equal to -2. So -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to the infinity. Okay? I think one last one because you're going to like this one. You're going to see this one a lot. Here we go. Oops. My badness, I did something. Oops, I did it again. All right, are you ready? Let's start. So for this one, you can kind of think about what Mr. said earlier too, right? Or she said, if you see 2 arrows, it means it's keep going forever and ever, and you need to extend them, right? So what I have right here is extension all the way right here. And like same thing to this side. So we can see it's open to the left, it's going to the left, and it points to the right. So let us label our number line, right? If we go all the way left, it will reach -infinity because getting smaller and smaller and smaller. If we go to the right side, it will give positive infinity because the number getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? So for the domain, we're gonna have 2 directions, both direction on the x-axis is gonna include all the numbers, right? So x belongs to the real, all real numbers. And you guess it, your favorite, right? Your favorite, negative infinity, comma infinity. Now notice this only happen if you have the arrows. Two arrows are pointing to both direction, left and right. Okay. And then let's take a look at the range. The range is all about y. Let's go from low to high. Okay, so this one, because it look like a U. Everybody see that? It's all the way up, 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 up. Like the movie Up. Like the balloon, right? It's all, we keep going up like that. Okay, so we have a lower number. But we don't know where's the balloon going. We don't know where's the graph is going to end. It's going to keep going up forever and ever, right? So we're going to have we don't have an ending point up here. Of course, we're going to be using infinity, okay? So -2, comma, infinity. -2 is a connected graph. It have a number right here on the y, so we're going to include that. Another way we can write this one is because it's greater than 2. Well, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The number getting bigger and bigger from -2, right? So we're going to put y is greater than or equal to -2. And that is how we do domain and range with arrows. It's like magic.